All right. Welcome back to another episode of Just Me. I'm Kevin. We're headed out for another trip along the beautiful trails in Duluth. Today, this is actually a ride on my gravel bike today. And I took another pretty long trip here. This is October 5th, 2025, day after my mountain bike trip yesterday. Today, we are headed on the gravel bike across Hawk Ridge and along the Lakewalk for a great distance. I think we did about 25 miles today, and we're starting off the trip here on Leicester Avenue in Duluth. A lot of people pronounce it Leicester Avenue, and that's probably how the locals say it. So if you want to sound local, that is how you'll pronounce Leicester Avenue. But we're just coming up on a stop sign here, and we'll be turning right on Glenwood, starting off our trip on our gravel bike. Head towards Hawk Ridge. Glenwood's a very steep hill in Duluth. Actually, this is Livingston, or this is Glenwood. Glenwood turns into Livingston just at the top of this hill. But yeah, here we go. We're headed down basically the start of Glenwood Avenue into this new roundabout here in Duluth. We're headed east down Glenwood, taking this roundabout here, meeting up with Snively and Jean Duluth Road. It's always nice to bike on roundabouts. Usually is nice. You don't have to come to a complete stop, although coming down that hill pretty fast, got to be a little cautious. Anyways, now we're going back up this small incline here part. Usually get a lot of momentum coming out of that roundabout that you can really cruise up this part of the hill as we head towards Hawk Ridge. The full trip that you're seeing below or on the side here, obviously we didn't quite get all of it on the GoPro footage today. This is my second time using the GoPro. Today we got about 50 minutes of footage before my battery died. I did a much longer ride than that. Taking this left here onto Hawk Ridge. It can be kind of difficult to take that left-hand turn. Today my neck must have been feeling good because you can drive on bike on that shoulder and look behind you to take that left into the left turn lane. But some days when traffic's busy, you can kind of peek in. You can take a quick right into the Summit Estates there, and then have a clear looking both left and right. So we're making our way into the Hawk Ridge area. Starts off with some paved trails here, but we'll turn to gravel pretty quick. It's another beautiful fall day here in Duluth. So lucky to be blessed with the weather in October. One of the nicest times, of course, to be in Duluth when you get the right day. Traditionally, October 5th weather, according to historical data, is that Duluth should be experiencing on October 5th highs around 50, lows in the 30s. This is another unusually warm day. It broke some temperature records. with sunny skies and southerly winds reaching into the 80s. So very, very much around normal. We broke some previous highs, both October 5th and 4th and 5th. But we are headed in towards Hawk Ridge, just going by the last house and headed up the steep hill. If you watched the video from yesterday's trip, you'll saw me going up this as well. Be fun to kind of compare and contrast the days here. This was a Sunday, so another busy day here at Hawk Ridge. You can tell from the car activity. Climbing up this road on a gravel bike, always, it's you get a little more speed on the gravel bike, but a little less traction. Sometimes the hill here can be a little bit dusty. And you got to be looking over your shoulder for traffic here too, a little bit. You can kind of tell I'm trying to move over for somebody, I think. But they're not quite willing to overtake me. Normally I'd be kind of probably going right down the middle of this track with all the bumpiness is more felt on the gravel bike, of course. Today at Hawk Ridge, it was what they call a bust out day for peregrine falcons. They had counted 24 dry conditions over the past period. Have created a good condition for the peregrine falcon migration on this beautiful October 5th day. Accessing the Hawk Ridge Facebook page, you'll see some pretty amazing pictures from this day of some raptors carrying some prey in their mouth. Pretty impressive. It's always fun to go by all of these cars parked up here at this time of year at Hawk Ridge too. See cars from all over the United States and their license plates. If you got some kids who are into license plate gawking, come on down to Hawk Ridge on a beautiful October weekend and see how many states you can count up. Here we got all the activity. And of course, here's the, you see on the left there, just got a little glimpse of the bird count chart and the nice little view looking out. Always good to take a break here at the observatory, especially when there's plenty of people around. Get a couple sips of your water and any tangerine you brought along, suck that down. But we get a little further down Hawk Ridge gravel road here than we did yesterday, at least with the recorded footage. Saw this runner earlier, didn't we? A lot of folks out on this beautiful day. Last call for the porta potty. And it's hard to always know when you're coming in and out of Hawk Ridge. Are people going to want to drive? They want to go faster than you or slower than you? Apparently that guy was ready to hopefully park and not just pass me in a couple of moments. Beautiful day out here. Just love to see these clouds in the sky. A lot of colors turning this time of year as well. Now we're heading down this hill on the Hawk Ridge road. Always gets a little shaky on the gravel road. I think I mentioned it in the video yesterday, but You see all the ridges in the road, and coming down here in the gravel with no suspension, you start to feel the G's. You start to feel the camera pan down, check out your tire. Can't really stop and fix that when you got the speed going. Here we go, the most kind of extreme part, and then after you hit the bottom of that hill, you start working your way up. Try and take as much of this momentum. There is this section of Hawk Ridge that I always notice has a very distinct, unique smell. I believe it's the red pines in the area. As you come up this hill, you really notice, it looks like we're still going down here. We'll get uphill, going uphill pretty soon here. We're tasting the dust from the truck in front of us. So right here, right when you come into all of this pines, all these trees on both sides, but you can really smell the pines in this section, and especially the most hot and humid days, there is almost a line in the sand where that smell can be evoked. It's really lovely. Something in the road there. So directly to the right, as you've watched the video probably yesterday, they have the Hawk Ridge Mountain Bike Trail. Very technical trail. Of course, I'm on my gravel bike today, so I'm not taking that one, but would often skip that one if I'm looking for a longer ride. I believe it's classified as a blue intermediate trail, but there's definitely some black parts of it. Some parts that I actually volunteered for COGS and made some improvements on. I always feel proud going up that particular part. Just to the right here, there's a little kind of shortcut into that trail if you ever skip that trail. What I often do is I skip that mountain bike section and then take the gravel road and then sneak in on that little shortcut and then do the switchbacks. So I'll have a video up on that, I'm certain, at some point. And then we have another steep downhill section where we are coming towards Leicester River. If we take this left here, there's what's called the Amity Creek Trail, and I'll have the video up on that, I'm sure, soon. But here we are on Seven Bridges Road, the first of the 7 bridges that we're crossing. If you were to go straight at this sign here, you'll see a COGS trail for a green Leicester. It's called the Leicester River Trail. Absolutely great beginner trail. But now we're heading down 7 Bridges Road, and this road's always fun to go down. Occasionally get a little traffic here. We're on the second of the 7 bridges. 7 Bridges Road is considered the eastern terminus to the Skyline Parkway. Taking the Skyline Parkway from, a lot of folks like to drive that here in Duluth, and considered kind of the end of that. Here we go on the third of the 7 bridges, a nice long one here. It situates itself, the bridges go over both Leicester River and Amity Creek. A quote that I found from Sam Snively about this, saying, "We built the road north from Leicester Park, including the bridges, in a distance of about 2.5 miles beyond, and then stopped suddenly in a heavy bank of clay, feeling the need of financial refreshment." It's pretty impressive that we were able to build this beautiful scenic area and that it's remained undeveloped for so long on the outskirts of Duluth. We're in the most eastern part of Duluth, descending into the lakeside neighborhood. And Sam Snively was one of the former mayors of Duluth, the longest serving mayor of Duluth, who helped build this road. On the left-hand side, we've got the Lester River biking trails, as well as cross-country skiing trails. Lots of trails to enjoy over there. Those cross-country skiing trails can be enjoyed in the summer months on a gravel bike. It's really how I got interested in trail biking, taking this gravel bike out onto a lot of those trails over there and seeing the mountain bike trails and occasionally hopping on them a little bit, and then saying to myself, oh man, I should really buy a mountain bike if I want to actually take some of these trails. Got some other bikers working their way up. Although it is a very steep incline going up, it's fairly pleasant for a steep incline, and the views make it all worthwhile. Apparently there was a long-standing information sign located near bridge number 6 incorrectly stated that the bridge origins were from the WPA, the Works Progress Administration, and built between 1928 to 1932. But the WPA didn't come into existence until 1935, and the signs were removed in the 90s. Interesting that they would put that signage up and realize how inaccurate it was not all that long after it was built in 1899, I believe. Hopefully I didn't record over that part. 1899 is when it was built and opened in 1900. And we just went by a little tiny parking area, and to the left there is a mountain biking trail that you can actually see that goes along this road. Can't really see it without somebody on it right now, but you can see that it kind of veers off into the hill there to the left. And we're on the very final descent here of the Seven Bridges Road. Nice little parking area here as well. Always watch to make sure no one's backing out when you're zipping down this decline. It gets a little bit rough here at the end, the road, so do make sure when you are traveling on this road to be very careful. Snively was planning on building a house as a centerpiece to the farm, encapsulating the Seven Bridges Road area. Snively had plans to build a sister route on the south side of the ridgeline, but those plans wouldn't reach fruition for another 30 years. Despite its, even though it was a very popular area, the original Seven Bridges, built from wood, quickly deteriorated, making the road hard to travel. Here we are finally coming down into the neighborhood. But in 1910, they handed over the park to the Duluth Park Commission and began the landscaping for the Seven Bridges that the road is known for. So we're just passing Lester Park on our left and now taking a right down to head down towards Brighton Beach. Over to the right here, we'll head down the Lakewalk later in this video, across these train tracks. And this little section we'll be heading down in towards Brighton Beach and then swinging back to the Lakewalk. Another little rough part here, so be very careful. Often will be pedestrians as well as cars in this area. Tempting to just scream your way down, but be very careful. You see Superior Street to our right, turning into Highway 61, just as the road continues to the east. And here's a little tunnel that we go under Highway 61, and it's really kind of the gateway to the lake, because we emerge from this tunnel with the Lake Superior on our right, and now seeing all our traffic to our left headed up towards Highway 61, that going towards Two Harbors. But now we head into Brighton Beach. The refurbished trails here, the city did a great job. Formerly very dilapidated roads, hard to bike, walk, or drive on. Lots of potholes. They created a new road for cars, a one-way, as well as this paved trail that you see me on right now, or on this day, October 5th. All these benches that you see here, garbage cans, trash facilities, picnic tables, these are all brand new within the last year. You do have to watch out for people coming in and out of that bathroom. Just about every time there's folks not looking, crossing the street. Of course, being a cyclist, you have to give the right of way to pedestrians and always assume that they are not paying attention. Good to let folks with dogs know that you're coming, hitting them with your on the left exclamation. Try not to do it too loud. Try not to do it too soft. It's hard to find that right medium. Everybody's got different levels of hearing. Brighton Beach now allows for stronger foot traffic or bike traffic. It initially opened in 1922 as the first auto tourist campground and was part of Kitchigami Park. It had cabins and picnic spots before some storm damage led to its renovation. There's some interesting structures that they did keep in here. We'll try and catch those on the way back. In 1926 is when it became unofficially known as Gitchigami Park. It is also considered the eastern terminus of the Lakewalk, which starts in Canal Park. So that's about a solid 6 miles, 60 blocks. We're about to hit up the U-turn here. On my trip here, I actually did take a little break. There's a little trail that, if you were to keep heading east, got a nice little picture of it here. There's a little trail where you can walk your bike and rest on the rocks. Really nice place to sit and rest. You can also see the bike that I'm on today there, my Lorax, made completely from Minnesota parts. Company unfortunately no longer exists, but they did source all of their parts from Minnesota. We've got some nice swings here. It being a park, the There's not necessarily a lot of playground equipment here, so if you're bringing your family, bring a little picnic lunch. Prepare to throw a lot of rocks, a lot of nice looking rocks. If you come out here in the winter months, you'll see an almost otherworldly. Oh, here's this structure on the left that I wanted to mention. Apparently, it's called Bella's Castle, and is a works progress administration structure. But it has a little fireplace in there. There's been some times where I've had some fires in there and done some s'mores with the fam. Nice little getaway. And then to go out on those, as I was mentioning, out onto the water in the wintertime here, just giant ice shards that are very unique, almost from another planet. I think this particular trip was, you can see how my hands positioned are here. I really kind of discovered that my longer trips, it's nice to have these rests that you can put your hands on. It's kind of funny how they are perfectly framed in this shot. Yeah, so the Lakewalk starts at Canal Park, which I wonder if you'll be able to see the bridge here in just a moment. It might be a little too far away. It starts in Canal Park. It's the flattest, it's a reconstituted railroad line and a very flat biking experience. Duluth, known for its hills. But if you live in Lakeside and want to work downtown or work in the Lester Park area, of which they're known as Lakeside, there are quite a few businesses in the area. You could definitely get away with just having a bike commuter living in Lakeside, working downtown. Very accessible. And they did make a lot of accessibility improvements when they made these improvements to Brighton Beach. The construction of the newly renovated Brighton Beach was completed in October of 2024. It started in 2021, and the work cost around $6.4 million, according to the City of Duluth website. It received support from FEMA as well as the state of Minnesota. You see now on the right, Highway 61, and working our way back towards that tunnel. Can we get a quick view of the bridge? Guess not. Right behind that. And we're heading back through our tunnel and back up the hill towards the Lakewalk. We also have the Environmental Protection Agency right in this area. That fencing to your right is where the EPA resides, or at least the Duluth branch of the EPA. The Lakewalk, though, is what we're working our way up towards. On our left, you have the Lester River. Very nice views. You can see this little jut out there that you could walk out, and there's some stairs headed down there if you don't want to take the stairs down to the river. Very nice place to enjoy some waterfalls, some nice waterfalls in the Lester Park region. We eventually come up to the Lakewalk here right now. The railroad rides adjacent to it, so you got to cross those rocky rocky rails. See the nice bike route sign, the railroad crossing. And we're taking our left onto the Lakewalk. A little parking lot there to the left. One of these days, there were some kids jumping into the lake here at some dangerous levels. To that left there is a little bridge that people like to sneak out on. Not condoning it. Got to climb over that fence to get there. The little retirement building to your right. But yeah, here we are back. Now we're on the Lakewalk. Not really an off-road trail necessarily, but a great path that does have those kind of bumpy curbs whenever you cross a road. So make sure you got good tire pressure when you're heading down the Lakewalk. Every time you hit one of those curbs, you do get a little jarred. And there is some rocky parts of the trail too. We'll see if we get that far today. Kind of see the leaves falling on this beautiful October 5th in Duluth, Minnesota. The Duluth Park website says that the Lakewalk is 8 miles of paved pedestrian and bicycle trail stretching from Canal Park to Brighton Beach, aka Gitchigami Park. Much of it along the Lake Superior shore. It was originally built in 1986 as a half-mile path. The Lakewalk extended over the years with the help of a local group called Friends of the Lakewalk, which is a 501c3, so do support them with your donations if you get the chance. Friends of the Lakewalk works with the city of Duluth and the Parks Department to help maintain these trails. They got all sorts of business sponsorships. There's a scenic train that comes through on the left-hand side, especially this time of year. Sometimes I really enjoy racing that train. If I happen to catch it when it's about to turn around, and try and race it down to Canal Park. Usually a fun, family-friendly event on that train, and some kids get psyched up about that. On the right, I believe I just passed the Lake Superior Brewery. Brewery that used to be on the west side of Duluth. They moved over there a few years ago. And a dilapidated old Super America. And I just found out yesterday, if you are a composter, it is a WLSSD compost drop-off site location. Hard to bring your compost on your bike, but if you're in this area and doing an errand and need to drop your compost off, that closed down SA has a compost site. On the right hand side is Superior Street and London Road, which I just looked at a map and saw that's also called Voyager Highway. First time I'm seeing that on a map. Is to the left. You can't quite see it in the view here, but it is kind of the main roads people travel on in the lakeside neighborhood. London Road being kind of get you through town. Basically Highway 35, Interstate 35 ends, and London Road takes you up to Highway 61. Of course, stop signs, pay attention to those. make sure you just looking both ways. Minnesota did come up with the Idaho stop, not requiring cyclists to stop at stop signs as long as they're doing their due diligence of making sure that they are safe. As a cyclist, you know that you're the vulnerable one out there. They do have that mile marker. There's a little sign that I just went by. It's not too small to see what the mile marker was, but you can really track how far away you are from Canal Park, because they start those mile markers at 0 at Canal Park and work their way up as you work towards Brighton Beach. Here, of course, I'm headed southwest towards Canal Park from Brighton Beach. Before the Lakewalk, the Duluth shoreline was really gummed up with junkyards and docks and rail yards. And the continuous trail looks like it became a continuous path in 1991. We're past St. Michael's Church there on the right just a moment ago. Got a Duluth-based bank that we're going by here. On the right side, a good place to check the weather conditions. In some areas of some businesses. Coming up here on the right, some very unique businesses. There's like a dog bakery treats. A dog treat bakery, I should say. A new restaurant opening up there. I don't think it was open at this point, but there's a restaurant in that what used to be called the New London Cafe. Turned into a Palestinian restaurant for a little bit, but now is reclaiming into a place called Hong Kong. Fuel up for some gas station snacks there if you need on your right. And some nice Duluth-based businesses here on the right. Sammy's Pizza. Going by Yarn Harbor, I think. Might have passed that already, but that part really, that little structure that you pass by on your right must be something related to sewers, because it does stink pretty bad right in that particular area. So as you cross that street, prepare yourself for the waft, the rank waft. On Sunday afternoons, a lot of these businesses close a little bit early. I think one of these days I was trying to stop by the Amity coffee shop. What we just passed right there was Lakeside Liquor. The Lakeside neighborhood, interestingly enough, did not sell off-sale liquor until very recently. There was no liquor stores allowed in the area. And this happened within the last, I want to say, 5 years. They made change that rule. Look at me not waiting for the stoplight. Way to go. So yeah, we got a little Amity coffee shop here on the right, which I had thought about stopping in, but it was a little too late on a Sunday. Hardware Hank, the Marshall, also known as Marshall Hardware, also closed on Sundays. The e-bike rental place there on the right there as well, if you're coming to Duluth and didn't bring your bike but realized that the weather's too good to not go out. That's the thing about Duluth. When the weather is nice, it is ingrained in somebody to go outside. You have to take advantage of recharging your nature enjoyment battery whenever you can. And we were so lucky this October. So many dry days. so many above average temperatures, allowing for a very long riding season. Being cautious here, of course, waiting for your cars to go by. Watching this video, you never really even realize how many trash cans you see on the route, which is very nice. Probably if you were walking this route, you would be emptying your pockets more often. When I'm biking, I got Camelback on my back. Usually have a lock in there with my keys, a couple snacks, usually some clementines or bananas, along with some prepackaged snacks that are easy to eat while you're on the bike. And knowing that we got more trash can options, that's good. Good to lighten your load whenever you get the chance. There's beautiful flowers there on the right there. So I think we're coming up here. Where are you at? Oh, here. I biked this route yesterday and happened to see this bag here on the right hand side and noticed it was full of apples. And I said to myself, if I bike by here again, I'm going to have one of these apples. Of course, luckily I have my water bottle on me in addition to my Camelback, because I usually suck everything out of my Camelback and then I get thirsty and need something. So I had a little bit of water in my water bottle left to wash off that apple. I'm sure somebody must have picked those apples and left them there and thought that there would be somebody biking 20-25 miles in a day needing the sustenance. And been reading a lot about strategies for bicycle touring, how to best utilize eating while you're on long bike trips. Eating while you're riding is actually something that's recommended. Get that food energy converted into output almost immediately. So when you see me out on the trails, you'll probably not always find me chomping on something, but if I do, I've usually been out there for a little while and needing the food. So this is one of the best parts of the Lakewalk, in my opinion. Very forested on both sides. And if you squint far enough on the right, you can probably find some houses with some large wooded backyards. On the left, you can see some developments, some larger buildings being built, getting near the Glen Sheen area, the Glen Sheen Mansion area of the Lakewalk. This little dip here, it always is a little, you've got this momentum going down the hill, you got the four-way look, you got the stop sign. Got to be very careful here. Usually some pedestrians to muck things up a little bit too. Looked like a good day for it. And then you head right straight back up the hill. So as a cyclist, you're always trying to maximize your efficiency from the downhill to the uphill with a stop sign in the middle of a downhill. Man, it'd be nice if they built a bridge there. I know that's ambitious thought, but if you built a nice little bridge going over that road, that would probably increase safety there immensely. But we'll be thankful for what we have for now. Yeah, another little section coming up here. You'll have to watch out for a bunch of little bumps. You see quite a few cracks in the road in this particular section. And you see on the left side here some very aggressive bumps So if you're traveling northwest, unlike I am today, traveling southwest, I should say northeast. I'm traveling southwest today. You gotta watch out for that. But here's another little beautiful area. I always find somebody sitting on that bench right there because this bridge right here has some pretty nice lookouts to some trails. You get around some curves here and have another not quite as dramatic downhill into an uphill as the previous one, but the cars are not really looking for you in this particular intersection, so be very careful. That particular section looks like there's a bunch of pine needles all over the trail as well too that I just passed by. Coming into the last kind of wooded section of the Lakewalk. This is I don't think we'll run into any more intersections with cars for this section. We'll be taking this all the way to the 26th Avenue East, which is where Interstate 35 ends. It's almost like we're on the bicycle freeway for Duluth on the Lakewalk. Lakewalk really was something that its residents really did have to fight for. Looking up some information about the lovely area. Ever since the 70s, there was very little lake access for Duluth residents. There was a series of informal footpaths between Canal Park and Brighton Beach. And when you look up things about Lakewalk, most of what you'll find is the most western sections near Canal Park. But we are traveling here on the most eastern sections. Looks like the first phase of the Lakewalk was a stretch along the lakeside shore of Canal Park to East 27th Avenue. So that's what we are just coming upon right now. And we're making this turn. This section here, I think, might have been one of the first days that this section had been reopened. There was some construction of some water lines of some kind. I don't even really know what they are, but there used to be some gigantic water lines that looked like they were carrying water here in this section, closing off this little tunnel heading underneath the freeway. This section, never run into any trouble down here, but I always keep my cautious person alert. Seemed like a good place for someone to come out of the woods there and out of that tunnel, but there's some very difficult sections on that left-hand side of that I'm not traveling on that those skaters probably had to endure. Some very rocky sections. I think this was a Sunday, so I was checking my phone every once in a while. I think my goal was to watch the end of a football game, but ended up having too much fun. Stop every once in a while to look at the score, talk to a family member or something like that. Gotta watch this turn right here. Again, one of those momentum crushers where you take the downhill and then take a turn where you need to slow down, go uphill. This hill doesn't look like much. Looks like I'm getting some pretty good speed on it on this day. But there is quite a bit of a incline on this hill, and it can wear a kid out, that's for sure. Over on the left, though, there's quite a few little trails that you can pop out. On the right, you see this concrete structure. During those when that tunnel was under construction, that would be the route to get down here. I had done a 100-mile bike ride for the first time earlier. It was about a month before this. Traveled on that particular path. So yeah, we're coming to near the end, not of my bicycle trip today, but as far as the trip that I have recorded, we're come out here just about at 21st Avenue, and then my battery runs out on my GoPro. But we travel along the Lake Superior, or on the near the Interstate 35. Got some construction that had been happening here. You can see some of that. But thank you for joining me on my trip here on this beautiful October 5th in Duluth, Minnesota, traveling along the Lakewalk. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you join just me again in the near future. I enjoy having you here on the channel, and thanks again to the University of Minnesota Duluth for being a part of this project. Have yourself a wonderful day.